soul is strong enough to handle the blows that come from raising sons, the blows that come from availing yourself and giving yourself access and giving access to you to be able to become a safe place and a rock for people to fall on, because you are the one that God has called to give name, to give identity, to warn, to caution, to guide, to invest. You're the one that God uses and burdens regarding the quality and the content of people that are around you that may not necessarily understand your significance today. They may not appreciate you today and your work today and your investment today and your hope today, but later on they will. It's a real trying thing to be. And so because of that, I just want you to have the fear of the Lord. For those of you that are going around using these terms to sodomize people, to abuse people, to recruit people for your own kingdom and your own empire, I want to caution you to have the fear of the Lord, because when fathers fail and when fathers fall, calamity prevails. There's a scripture, I think, in the book of Isaiah that talks about, because there is such an absence of fathers, the Bible says that 7 women will attach to one man, and the children will also come saying, "Give us your name." And the prophet was explaining a calamity where legitimacy would be so rare and the right to be, because being who God has called you to be, it's not really complicated, that's inevitable, but to be made to feel like you have the right to do that because you are made legitimate and because you are traceable and trackable and authority was given to you, and you come from a succession of men that have spent time developing and forming not just you and spending fun time, but developing your thought patterns and training your cravings and training your perspectives and your resiliences and how you handle temptation and all. When you've had that type of input in your life, there's a different authority that comes in your ministry and a different anchoring throughout the seasons of life. And so because of that, when you don't use the fear of the Lord with walking with this stuff, you abuse people, you hurt people, you hurt lives, you alter stories. And so we are in a real lack of father. In that book of Isaiah, when it says that, it's talking about how desperate people would be to gravitate to a thing to be made to feel legitimate. I believe those women, he says 7 women to 1 man. I believe that's a picture of churches that will gravitate to anything that is considered a canopy for the sake of significance, for the sake of safety, and for the sake of security. Because whether we want to talk about it or not, whether we're going to admit it or not, everybody that's been called to some degree of ministry, you're going to have a war in what makes you feel secure. You can put on the dog collar, you can act like you don't, you can use your homiletics and hermeneutics to impress people, but if you were to really be brutally transparent about the wars you incur at the expense of the anointing on your life, everybody's concerned about being made to be secure. If I fall, who's going to be there? If I make a mistake, who's going to help me? Who's going to believe in me enough? Watch this, to make my mistake redeemable and to get redemption out of my fall and my failure and my mistake. Am I left to be imprisoned by my own fears and by the things that may be dormant in me that it takes promotion to manifest? Because there are some things and some powers that are in you that are working on your soul. I call them soul destroyers, that you're not going to see until you get a stage. You're not going to know that it's there until you get a platform and a light comes on you. There are some tendencies in you that you may not even really realize is there until the right level of popularity come to you. Then you're going to know what is likely that you're going to do. People always say that people change with money and change with fame and change. No, money does not change people. It only reveals the things that were lurking in them. That some demons need a currency to manifest. So there's some things in you that you don't know is there until you make the right type of money. I'm sure that when preachers are broke, now when they got 5 members, or when itinerant ministers that nobody's listening to them, or when writers are barely making it, I'm sure all of them are saved and sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, 5 baptized, running for their life, and they ain't got tired yet. I'm sure that they're all doing well. But what happens is opportunity, promotion, big stages, big places, raised places have a tendency for making things surface in you that you did not know was there. Fine. But who's going to deal with it? Who's going to identify? Who's going to tell you you're flirting with dangerous ground? Who will have the right to invest in reinforcing those areas in your soul and your life so that it doesn't rob and ruin your purpose? But more importantly, everybody that's relying on you to make it. I generally ignore a lot of stuff that people send me if I don't know them, because I know people can use social media and other outlets to get direct lines to you, to incriminate you and all of that stuff. And so I largely don't pay attention to it. But I got a comment on Instagram the other day that broke me down. I mean, broke me down. And I don't know the guy who sent it. I can't even remember what his name was, to be honest. But I was looking through my Instagram, and what he sent me was a real small statement. It said, "Man of God, we need you to succeed." That was all he said. And I kind of stared at the comment. This is not a member of my church. This is not a person that's a student of mine, never met him. This is just somebody who's been following my ministry. And when he said that, something hit me so heavy, just so heavy, a sobriety about what my assignment means to people I know and I don't know. That thing is not cute. That brought the fear of the Lord to me, because what it meant was, if I don't make it, somebody won't understand who they are and why they are. If I don't progress, if I don't move forward, that's a powerful mandate. And so this thing about, being used by God to be a multiplier and a reproducer, it's a very serious thing. And I wish you people would stop playing with it, because it's causing a lot of confusion, a lot of hurt, a lot of chaos, a lot of a disaster, a lot of catastrophe. When God makes you to be that way, he gives you a lot of indiscriminate power and a lot of things that you could say with your words that will end up breaking cycles in people's lives and legitimizing destinies that can affect untold millions. So I take myself seriously, but I take my behavior seriously. I take my integrity seriously. I take my company serious. Paul says, "Be not deceived. Bad company corrupts good character." Why? It's for the sake of the story God is writing with my life, and who's going to be affected by it later on. And I want people to be able to say, if it were not for that man, if it were not for what he preached, if it were not for what he said, I would not be and I would not have done. That's what I want. That's a reward to me. And so it is a big deal when fathers fail, and when fathers drop us, and when fathers don't do what they should do. Now, a lot of you have horror stories about this, not because of the misbehavior of a man. Some of us have bad stories with this because of off expectation. 80% of the time, when people have these conversations with me about their own spiritual leaders and people that they relate to, mentors or coaches or whatever, most times they have off and really perverse expectations. And what I'm learning is the more damaged a person's history is, the more unrealistic and the more unreasonable their expectations are going to be when they come into a spiritual leader's sphere to help them be developed or to help them understand who they are. That damage in their past, that damage in their history ends up affecting their definition, affecting their demands, affecting what they interpret as rejection, what they interpret as consistency. And so some of you have not necessarily been dropped. You've just not tapped into your leaders the way you should because of your own personal damage in your own personal background. So there's a lot that goes into this, but what you've got to realize is that this is real. One of the greatest weapons in the arsenal of God for your life is going to be a voice, a life that you can look at, rely on, and that you can feel. I mean, I say this often, and I don't think it's very profound, but a lot of people think it's profound. I think it's hypocritical to have life insurance and not have destiny insurance. Your destiny is the reason for your life. So it makes sense to me that if you're going to insure your life in the event that you die and have something to leave people, I think you need to do the same for your destiny. And one of the levels of destiny insurance is making sure that you surround people, surround yourself, and submit yourself with fathers, with mothers who can protect you, resource you, rebuke you, that you give the right to have hard conversations with, and you don't become common and dishonorable and disrespectful and pump your chest with. I mean, we really need some help with our destinies, and because of that, we're just not doing well. We're having to figure out by force what could easily come to us by the right conversation, by the right opportunity, by the right moment in the company of a man. I mean, there can be life-changing moments when you meet the right people, the right woman of God, who can let you know, don't behave like that with your husband. This is how you manage being a mom and a minister and an entrepreneur, or the right man of God who can teach you how not to be seduced. I preached a message ago at Dr. Jamal Bryant's church. That should be one of the first classes every preacher takes before they learn how to preach. You know what's funny to me? And please forgive me if this is offensive. I don't really care. But do you realize how screwed up the way we build preachers actually is? I mean, the way we develop leaders is so backwards. We immediately go to external stuff. As soon as you realize somebody's got the call of God on their life, we immediately start with teaching them how to make 3 points, how to interpret Greek and Hebrew, how to, build churches from scratch, how to get, you go to some of these Bible colleges, CFNI, some of the other ones around the world who used to specialize in building ministers from the inside out. Now they got classes. You start your journey with learning marketing. You start your journey with learning logos and with learning how to start a church from the ground up. Even in some of our more traditional Orthodox settings, when we're preparing people to become bishops in the house of the Lord, or overseers, and we start them off with stuff from the Roman Catholic papacy. I mean, we want to teach them about how close they are to the Apostle Peter in the line of apostolic succession. And most of them jokers don't cast out devils, can't break yokes, don't understand principalities and powers. The most unapostolic way to train a person I've ever seen in my life. But we'll take them in a Crayola section and make them go to a year-long training on how to know whether or not you should wear a fuchsia collar or a purple one. Ridiculous, people. Look at the way we're building our preachers with crap that does not matter in the spirit to the kingdom, or frankly to the forces of hell. I think the way we should train all preachers needs to start with how to not be seduced. And I got Bible for that. You know what Jesus' first lesson was? It was not in clergy collars and Crayola color-coded shirts. It was not in adjutancy. It was not in homiletics and hermeneutics. It was not in none of that crap. You know what Jesus' first training was? The desert. How to handle telling your flesh no when it needs, or it thinks it needs something that's put before it. That was his first lesson. He went and he fasted. You don't see courses on that in some of these seminaries and Bible colleges. You don't see self-denial. And you need to wonder why God began Jesus' training by denying himself. Why? Because there was a lot of power, a lot of influence, a lot of authority that would come with being the one who brought the kingdom, and being the one who said what nobody was saying, and being one of the first place people to have the message that he had. God didn't have time to be teaching him homiletics and hermeneutics and what was going on in the Vatican. Jesus, people. I mean, the way we build preachers is so backwards, and we wonder why America is in the snare that it's in, why we're so bound, why our sons are being seduced into homosexuality and perversion, and they're still preaching, and they're still teaching, and they're still laying hands by day, having sex parties by night, sleeping with their choir members and their preachers, and while we've got women who are basically walking around with lesbian dyke-like spirits on them that make them fight and resist partnering with their male counterparts, make them feel like they've got to be brutal in order to be accepted. I mean, it's ridiculous, and all of it ends up finding out that we have no fathers. We have no real fathers. So we're in a rare time. We have a very, very ongoing heal. And to be very honest, it looks like we're losing, because the more talent we get, the more gifts we get, the more people manifest. It seems like the less quality fathers we have. So I'm just encouraging you, if you are out there and you are a rogue, and if you are roaming around doing your own thing, please find a relationship. And if it don't work, it don't work. But be encouraged. Find the one that will, of somebody that you can submit to and become accountable for, because it's bad. You know, we've got so many broken preachers out there, broken leaders out there, and it's bad. And it's because we don't have people that will give us access to wisdom and access to protection and tell us hard truths whether we like it or not. So it's a bad time. We need to cry out, Lord, preserve, raise up fathers, establish them, men that will have the types of conversations with us that we like and the types of conversations with us that we don't like. You know, having a father is not about sitting your spoiled religious self on a platform so you can name drop. I know people that couldn't wait to get a celebrity preacher over them so they could name drop and buy coupons into conferences and all of that crap. That's not what this is about, people. It's about you. And these very same people are sodomizing the little boys around them, and these fathers don't know what the heck is going on because they live in other nations. It's horrible. We have got to start allowing the fear of the Lord to come upon us where men know our tendencies. You need fathers in your life that know what is likely you will do and likely you won't do. Not just people who can sign a darn birth certificate ordination and then that just ends up being it. This is not about where you sit. I don't care about sitting next to somebody on the platform. Oh, I'm a son. What matters is the potency of the conversations that shape your world, shape your view, shape your perspectives, bring conflict to your error. I mean, it's bad. So we got to pray that God do something with this institution and that God raises up real men and women of God to fulfill these roles to us, because I meet dropped people every day, and some of them are not called of God or to ministry like they think they are, but others of them really are. They got real potential. They just don't have access to somebody to say yay, nay, stop, slow, go, whatever, you know. And so it's a crisis, it's a tragedy, but it's real. I believe God is raising a breed of people to handle these roles in integrity and with responsibility. But it's going to take a while for those of you out there that are looking for the celebrity guy to actually acknowledge the resources that are in your circuits that could fulfill these roles into your life. So fathers are falling, fathers are failing, and it's affecting the quality, and it's affecting the caliber, and it's affecting the type of preachers that our nation is in the hands of. It's cheap. It's horrible. I mean, we went through a season in 2008 where like 6 major voices in the urban church world, all very highly platformed, all had back-to-back divorces. Boom, 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 boom. And not once did a national father go to bat for marriage. Not once did a national father call a private meeting in a hotel and say, hey, y'all meet me here in Vegas. I'm going to deal with all of you people in this room about why you're brutalizing this. Not once. Nobody from a storefront made a call. It's bad, guys. I mean, this is ridiculous. Then we had, you know, the whole saga in Atlanta. I mean, it's just bad. Not once did anybody go to bat for how to make these things redeemable, redemptive mistakes. Fathers are a resource of redemption. And one of the ways God uses them is to make sure that your mistakes are not lethal. But without their voices and without them opportunities and without them conversations, your mistakes may be murderous to your assignment. So this is important to me. I remember what it was to roam and to wander and to vagabond, trying to figure out who am I, where am I going? Oh my God, I'm anointed. Oh my God, I got these gifts, I got these skills, but I don't have a context. I remember that. It was horrible, you know. So y'all got to do something about this. And those of you men and women of God that are called to this, grow up and stop behaving like talent scouts. Develop the heart of the Father. Don't go out trying to look for sons and daughters to add to your stupid spiritual son belt. Don't do that. Become a safe place. Develop a hard word, a loving demeanor. Develop your discernment. Cultivate your ability to have somebody to fall on. It is so important. Those of you that are looking for one, align your motives. Make sure that you are teachable first. One of the things that you need to learn, and I'm going to close with this, one of the misconceptions about, you know, the whole spiritual fathering, spiritual son crap. This is why I don't like talking about it, because I just get stirred up, you know. One of the misconceptions is you've got to wait till somebody calls themselves your spiritual father before you learn to become a son. That is what I wish somebody told me in 1999 and in 2001 and in 2002. I wish somebody told me before this man or this woman that's going to lead you manifests, you have the power to become a son before you meet them. Most of us want these relationships in our lives, and then when they arrive, we kind of brutalize them because nobody taught us that it didn't take a father to teach us how to be a son. You got to position yourself first. Elijah did not teach Elisha submission. He had some of that stuff down pat. It's just like being a wife. You know, the Bible talks about he that findeth a wife. Now, if you find a wife, then it means that if you're going to become a wife, you learn those mentalities and those behaviors before somebody comes and make you their own. It's a behavior. It's a spirit. It's an essence. So that may be the reason why some of you are postponed in the manifestation of this type of access in your life or relationship. Is because, you know, when you ask God, send me this, and you think you need this, then you've now got to study what that's like. How do I be a son? Because it does not take the arrival of a father or a mother in the Lord or a mentor to make you teachable and to make you like that. And I'm going to tell you what happens. Believe 365, you're actually very right. When you don't craft a sonship spirit in you, and a sonship mentality on you, what's going to happen is when that father manifests, when that mother takes you to lunch, what's going to happen is you're going to be so accusatory in your receptivity levels, in your behaviors, and in your views that you're not going to have the heart to be a son. So you've got to learn how to become a son before God sends you a father. So get to work, bruh. Don't just start crying and complaining and comparing yourself and depressed and cutting yourself because ain't nobody named you that yet. Get to work from the inside out. Let me develop this heart. Let me understand what it is to react to an authority figure, to react when somebody gives me counsel. Let me respond right to the drills, the tests, the vetting processes, all of that stuff. So that's where a lot of you are going wrong. You're putting the pressure on the arrival of this man or this woman when the real pressure needs to be on developing the traits of a son inside yourself before something like this manifests to you. That's important for you to study. So, yeah, we're in a bad time, man. Fathers are falling, fathers are failing, and people are trying to figure out on their own how in the world to do this. So if you're called to ministry, I know a lot of people will disagree with this. They think you need to be connected, pass a few business cards and all that stuff. I think one of your most powerful resources is going to be a man or a woman of God to speak into your life and speak into your purpose, prophesy to your potential, and help you develop the mentalities necessary to do well in your mandate. They're going to also help you to develop the immunities, the things that you need to develop in your soul and in your life and in your mind to help you to do well under persecution and under pain. It's a lot of stuff. I could take 3 years to teach this, but I won't. So yeah, that's my heart, that's my burden. It's unfortunate. For the last 20 years, we've had a cycle of fathers who fail and fathers who fall. And so God is having to raise men up with the right heart to do that. All right, if those of you that are out there have not registered for my conference, the World Changers Summit here, or not here because I'm not in Chicago right now, but it's in Chicago. Yes, T. Torrance Jr., a good book is Developing or Raising Spiritual Sons by John Tetsola. That's Tetsola. Another one is Ye Have Not Many Fathers by Mark Hanby. And let me say this by Dr. Hanby. I agree with most of the book, but I don't agree with 100% of the book. It's one of those things where you've got to take the meat, spit out the bones. Some of the stuff I don't agree with. You got another one called Cover Me in the Day of Battle by Bishop Bart Pierce, Pierce. Is a real good read as well. So you got quite a few of that stuff out there. Oh, Mentoring and Fathering by Steve Schultz. 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 No, I do not know much about Bishop John Francis in London. I'm not really familiar with him. I haven't met him. Yeah. So those are the books. Do me a favor, guys. If you have not done your due diligence to register for my conference. Hey, Sheila Watson, love you. I want you to do so. Go to www.allnationswa.com. It's going to be life-changing, and that is not a marketing term. I literally mean that. I literally mean that to you. Go to www.allnationswa.com. It is the World Changers Summit. You can still register. I've got amazing things happen October 28th through November the 2nd. Prophet Michelle McLean Walters, myself, Rosemary LaQuint Bethel, Bishop Joseph Garlington, Bishop Joseph Matera, Travis Green, Ryan Booker, Woody Vereen is going to be there. Tommy Tinney, Prophet Catherine Sykes. We're going to have an amazing time in the Lord. Make the sacrifice and get to Chicago. You ain't got nothing else to do. Get your hotel to Chicago, spend time there, and allow the Lord to do and complete. And I want to say this. You can register all up into the event. I want you to come to Chicago and allow the Lord to punctuate what he's been speaking to you all year. I prophesy that if you make the sacrifice to get there, God's going to put the proper punctuation to the prophecies that God has been giving you all year. He's going to put a comma where there needs to be a comma, a semicolon where there needs to be a semicolon. He's going to put exclamation points where there needs to be exclamation points. God's going to punctuate what he's been talking to you and talking about you all year. So I want you to get there. I hope you receive that. Night sessions are free, but I mean, night sessions are great, but you really need to be in the day session to get the full context. So you might as well just make the sacrifice to get in the building. I prophesy that God is going to punctuate your purpose. All right, Night Brand. I'm praying that whoever you are, that the Lord makes miraculous provision in the next 48 hours for you to get to Chicago. I'm believing it. So yeah, why are some people afraid of prophecy? That's a loaded question, but the short answer is sin and secrecy. Yeah, sin and secrecy. All right, guys, I love you very. The day sessions start Friday, but the first night is Thursday night. But if you're a pastor, you're welcome to come and flirt with us on Wednesday during the day and see if you want to be a part of the Gate Fellowship. All right, I love you guys. I hope that you are coming out to be a part. Be there. Make the sacrifice to be there. How do I get the prophecy sermon? Contact Empowerment Temple. And I will see you guys later. I'm about to go feed my face. Scope hug, Kenneth Woodard. Hey, that's breakthrough. You being affectionate. I appreciate that, sir. I'm about to go and eat at one of these amazing buffets. I'm about to feed the fat man in me. But I hope this message blessed you. Please, I will actually be in Tennessee very soon. I'll keep you guys updated. Samuel Giles says, shout out to Apostle K. Hey, Sam Giles, we were just talking about you yesterday, and no, I'm not going to tell you what we were talking about. We'll see you in a few weeks. So anyway, I love you guys. You the bomb diggity. Go back, review this, research this, and I think, wow, we had 12-day countdown, right? Baby, we're 12 days? Yeah. 12 days from the World Changers Summit. So scope hugs to all of you. And